In the fall of 1979, a sea of students gathered outside the gates of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, eventually capturing 52 Americans. This was the start of a diplomatic nightmare that would last for over a year. To resolve it, President Jimmy Carter was forced to negotiate through the nation of Algeria, which acted as a neutral mediator between the two hostile powers. Because the negotiations involved the highest secrets of state, every message sent between Tehran and Algiers was heavily encrypted. Both sides operated under the assumption of total privacy, believing their communications were shielded from outside ears. Yet, in Washington, President Carter knew exactly what the Iranians were saying behind closed doors. After every encrypted exchange, he was reading the private deliberations of the hostage-takers as if he were in the room with them. The United States had achieved this impossible intercept because they didn't have to break the code. They had helped build the machines that created it. The answer leads to one of the most successful and longest-running espionage operations in modern history. The groundwork was laid just after World War II. Swedish inventor Boris Hagelin was growing wealthy by selling high-quality, portable cipher machines to militaries worldwide. These mechanical devices were praised for their reliability and ability to generate complex codes without a power source. As these machines proliferated, U.S. intelligence officials grew concerned. If every government on Earth adopted this level of security, the United States would lose its ability to monitor foreign communications, leaving the CIA functionally blind to global developments. In 1951, the CIA met with Hagelin and made an offer. They paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars to restrict his most advanced, secure machines to a small list of U.S.-approved allies. For everyone else, Hagelin would sell older, weaker models that the Americans had already figured out how to crack. By reaching this agreement with a single private businessman, the U.S. intelligence communities secured a foundational advantage over global communications, effectively turning a commercial manufacturer into a primary intelligence asset. By 1970, Hagelin was ready to retire, and the intelligence agencies saw an opportunity for total control. The CIA and West Germany's BND secretly purchased his company, Crypto AG, for millions of dollars. They used anonymous shell companies in Liechtenstein to keep their ownership a secret from both the public and their customers. The agencies then began selling a modern electronic cipher machine called the CX52. On the outside, it was state-of-the-art, but the internal mechanics were a trap. Inside the machine's revolving drum, the encryption was dictated by 32 metal slide bars that were supposed to move independently to create a random code. In many models, engineers rigged the hardware so that 30 of these bars were held in place, rendering them effectively dead. Only 2 bars could actually move. This invisible sabotage meant the machine produced a much simpler, more predictable pattern, allowing the CIA and BND to decipher messages in near real time. Foreign governments paid millions for these devices, believing they were purchasing absolute privacy. In reality, they were buying locks that were designed to click shut, but never truly engage, leaving their state secrets entirely exposed to the very agencies they were trying to hide from. Under the codename Operation Rubicon, Crypto AG sold these rigged devices to over 100 nations. This created an uninterrupted stream of global intelligence, funneling the private conversations of world leaders directly to Washington and Munich. This access became a decisive weapon during the 1982 Falklands War. When Argentine forces seized the islands, they utilized crypto machines for their military orders, unaware that their plans were being intercepted and fed directly to the British military. These intercepted transmissions provided the strategic intelligence needed to locate and sink the Argentine cruiser Belgrano, a turning point in the war that resulted in the loss of hundreds of lives. In 1986, after a bomb exploded at the La Belle nightclub in Berlin, the U.S. used the same backdoor to listen in on Libyan diplomats. They quickly intercepted transmissions from Tripoli that linked Muammar Gaddafi directly to the attack. This intercepted evidence provided the immediate public justification for U.S. military retaliatory strikes against Libya just 10 days later. This level of insight into foreign communications didn't just give the U.S. and Germany passive information, it provided them with the intelligence needed to influence the trajectory of international conflicts. This total information dominance came with a grim moral burden. When an agency can listen to everything, they are eventually forced to witness horrors that they cannot acknowledge without exposing their secret. In 1978, while Argentina hosted the World Cup, the country's military junta was conducting a brutal campaign against its own citizens. The BND intercepted communications detailing a death flight program, where dissidents were being loaded onto planes and prone to their deaths over the ocean. Despite knowing the scale of the murders, the intelligence agencies remained silent. The dilemma was absolute. To intervene or use the information to save lives would have alerted the Argentine government that their machines were compromised. It would have burned the entire global network that the CIA and BND had spent decades building. Sustaining such an extensive surveillance network ultimately required significant moral compromise, as the survival of the intelligence asset was consistently prioritized over the lives of the people being monitored. After 50 years, the operation didn't collapse because of a rival spy service, but because of a simple business trip. An unwitting crypto AG salesman was arrested in Tehran and interrogated for 9 months. His traumatizing imprisonment and the subsequent million-dollar ransom paid for his release led him to question the nature of the company he worked for. His suspicions eventually sparked the whistleblower leaks that exposed the entire operation to the world. Today, the mechanical cipher machines are gone, replaced by the vast server farms and fiber optic networks of modern tech giants. The hardware has evolved, but the underlying pressure remains the same. The effort by intelligence agencies to secretly leverage private infrastructure for global surveillance is no longer a hidden operation. It is a permanent